Honestly, I want to give the tip of the cap to Trevenant and those big old wood hammer buff that it got. Pain Split wood hammer is just so much fun to watch, to play. I've been picking that up since I finally got my first badge in Pokemon Unite on Mamoswine. I decided to switch it up a little
Hey.
bit, and also. Comfy looking pretty nasty. The sentient hula hoop throwing itself all over Pokemon and doing some great work. So we'll see what it can do here. Poor Aquilo getting covered up by the big old
Yeah,
logo.
yeah,
So
yeah.
shout out to us for doing that.
Okay, I forgot about draft mode when I was setting this up. All right, I definitely want to
Hey,
put it
look,
in a different spot. For now, it'll come back. It'll come back. MIDxMID versus Team YouTube. Now, MIDxMID did decide to go with first pick, so they are going to be on the purple side. But bans are simultaneous in Unite, so let's see where these teams want to go. I imagine if you want to bring the Trevenant or the Aquilo Venusaur, you might see a Delphox ban on the side of Team YouTube. Oh no, Espeon, interesting.
yeah, Espeon's kind of a Pokemon that's rallied to the forefront lately and has
Mm.
been not only great to watch, but Unknown, actually, one of the teams that kind of broke the mold with Espeon, bringing it to the table and doing some great work, UCS in February here, but MIDxMID getting themselves an invaluable Pokemon in that Urshifu.
Yeah, get that late game secure or that early game dominance, depending on what build you want to go with this Pokemon. Both extremely solid. Slowbro for Phil is a solid pick. And of course, Aquilo locks in their iconic Pokemon. It honestly would be strange if I didn't see that player on that Pokemon in the game number one.
Well, it's looking good, but that means Comfy and Blastoise going to the way of MIDxMID. Blastoise always kind of rears its head, right? As soon as you
Yeah.
think it's out of the meta, it just kind of roars back, and that Rapid Spin Water Spout kind of takes over the game. And we've got some stacking items. CSC locking in the Blastoise for the squad here. We'll see who ends up picking it up. But Phil, Gardevoir, love it. Rex, they go and lock in the Eldegoss. Eldegoss always a Pokemon that feels good. You know, it
Mm.
never feels awful.
Yeah, and Rex specifically adores this Pokemon. The red buff to the LD was a strategy really put in place by one of these players. Now, I am surprised to see the Gardevoir on Team YouTube's side, with So Sad Sam being such a phenomenal Mew player. I really expected that to be the direction they're going, but instead favoring the stronger level 5 in Central. I have to imagine, especially with a Pokemon that you can kind of give up Central for the Venusaur later, but the Machamp being locked in here, I have to imagine it's going to go over to Fui, the melee Pokemon extraordinaire on the side of Team YouTube. Very interesting draft, but we have both a Delphox and a Trevenant on the side of MIDxMID.
I really like MIDxMID's composition. Delphox,
Mm-hmm.
super powerful. Urshifu, super powerful. Comfy, super powerful. I mentioned the Trev buff, and of course, Blastoise rearing its ugly head. But Team YouTube getting a lot of solid comfort picks, as you mentioned, and that is worth its weight in gold when you're facing off another powerful squad.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. You're right. MIDxMID really seems to have like a who's who of the powerful Pokemon right now in the metagame. Sort of that all-star cast, where on the other side, Team YouTube has a more all-around style strategy. The only problem I can see is in these final team fights, there's going to be a lot of pocketing that Aquilo is going to need. So instead,
Mhm.
Sam is going to have to play extremely safe and far away. Get Yoshi is going to be trying to look for any way they can get into the back line. Of course, can't stop him on that same track.
Yeah, Phil picking up Slowbro, one of their historic favorites and one of the best defenders that we've got going. You know, they're streaming all the time. They're showing how strong they are in on these defender Pokemon, and Slowbro is literally la creme de la creme for old Phil.
Yes, I this Pokemon also getting a bug fix. Surf maybe finally playable. Who knows? I like to see that as well. So an exciting addition for this Pokemon. We'll probably still see Scald. It's so phenomenal in these matchups. It really helps Pokemon that want to not chase down as hard to get some really knockouts, the dominance it can have, and there you go. Rex with the red buff, an iconic part of the North American scene.
And just the uniqueness of which they're splitting the central area, how they're approaching these lanes, who's picking up the buff where. CSC getting slowed down immediately by that red buff here as Rex is getting in tons of damage. Gossifleur cannot be understated in the early parts of this game. Its basic auto attack is just so strong. If we looking to go in, but the slow smoke cuts them just a bit shy, and as they're contending over these wild Pokemon, now if we forced to retreat a little bit, Rex going to try and pick them up, and they are forced to just scamper out of there. But here comes Curly as Zoinks, putting in tons of damage on the opposing squad. squad.
Level 5 is so absurdly strong on this Pokemon. Probably only beat out by the Urshifu, which is now coming out for Get Yoshi. It is a blue Shifu, so we have the Rapid Strike. Is going to be a solid choice if they want to get into that backline. Unite Moves take over. Rex taking a ton of damage already. Get Yoshi just gets the early delete.
I mean, Blue Shifu is there. Move like water, my friend. Bruce Lee said that, and holy smokes, they come in flowing like an absolute typhoon, getting an early KO. Looking crispy as MIDxMID on these incredibly strong Pokemon. And that Comfey, come on. Fui has to cash in on that, and they do. You love to see it, getting some good experience early. CSE cutting off the score in a big way, though.
Yeah.
Oh, no. Here comes Yoshi. They're going to get the KO. They are schmoovin', my friend.
And there's no way if we expected to get Yoshi to be already back, right? Took the original central area rotation, but we actually have the Delphox heading into that area. Get Yoshi is not done yet either. Rex needs to take both Citrus Berries just to stay up and try to defend this goal zone, but EXP share being a bit of a hindrance already. Not level 4, does not have any offensive tools to stop these scores. MIDxMID just playing like their home base is on the first tier goal zone of YouTube.
I mean, Yosh, what they did is allowed CSE to stack some more, right? We saw that the War Turtle was carrying all those stacking items, and they were having trouble in the early stages of this one, but getting 3 stacks there is huge for the Water Turtle, and now they're forced to hold it down to the face of 3. Fui engages, they're going for it. Curly pops all of their abilities trying to hold it down, but it's just a ton of points going in. But there's that looming Blue Shifu. They're going to see if they can engage. They want the Gardevoir. Let's see if they can find it. They're darting in, and we're getting a little close combat back the other way for Fui to buy some time. CSE's sort of caught out, but Team YouTube is scampering and scrambling away.
Well, both teams using all their get-off-me tools. Close combat there, not getting any knockouts, but making sure that CSE could not chase whatsoever. Yoshi is in position to get the lion's share of the Zaltarias, but we have a Venusaur in the bottom path. So Sad Sam showing so much dedication to this top path meant that a Kilo could head into the central area a couple of times, earn more experience, and already hit level 9 at 7 minutes. Not an easy feat for a Venusaur whatsoever.
I mean, that Phantom playing on the backside, trying to get some Fisher-Price ball toys. They can finally hit Trevin and pick up that Wood Hammer, I'd imagine. But look at what that allowed Team YouTube to do. They're all over this Regice. They're getting the positional advantage, and they're trying to find KOs. They're moving forward on the Blue Shifu. Yoshi's trying to throw their things down, but that's a Unite move by the Venusaur. A Kilo on the Pocket Pick, and they're heating up, feeling good. 3 players down, and this poor Trevin stay late $1 short. They're not going to get the Regice. They're going to have to play some defense. Wood Hammer falls short, and it's 3 in their face. We're going to see if they go for points. Phil's looking cheeky to score, and so is Rex. They get a couple points in, but that is too late for the Trev.
Yeah, I mean, Galdite does hold down this goal zone. That is a bit of a silver lining, but the KO streak of 3 is going to hurt them in the long run. Kierzy is at level 8, so they're kind of hitting their power spikes a little too late for that first main objective, but definitely MIDxMID has angles to get back in this game. Poor CSE, not even at level 8, just trying to defend against Fui, who's 9 and some change. The top path was going very well for MIDxMID at the early points of that game, but a Kilo being left alone and unchecked really is a terrifying win condition on the side of YouTube.
Yeah, you have to think it was going so well. Oh, here we go. Big time engage. The Rapid Strike Urshifu trying to get what they can out of the birds, but really it's Team YouTube that are smothering those things down. What I was going to say is because Yoshi was babysitting the top path, it really gave up the bottom path and let a Kilo just kind of do whatever they wanted down there. And that ended up being a pretty solid recipe for success for Team YouTube to take that first objective.
Yeah, Kiro's now dedicating a lot of their time as Comfey to be positioning around Yoshi. You have to watch how they play. Rapid Strike, they can be moving in and out, of course, but playing around those bushes with the engage for Soset Sam is so solid.
Delphox Unite comes out, but it is nowhere to be found around the other squad here as that Rapid Spin Water Spout looks a little bit more sad on a turtle shell that size as Team YouTube is getting really good pressure here without giving up too much on their own side, which is exactly what you want. They're just auto-attacking in and buying tons of space, keeping MIDxMID at bay. And now YouTube not even rushing to get this Regieleki off the board as MIDxMID is just babysitting their goal zone.
One of the strengths of this composition we usually see around Venusaur is the sustainability and the longevity they have in team fights, but backing it up with the Machamp and Gardevoir actually gives them a very phenomenal burst tool that this composition normally doesn't have access to, and they can find these targets if they push too far ahead, and Gardevoir and Machamp and Fui and Sam can just delete them like that, and Kierzy is eliminated from this fight before it even starts.
We getting all the way back to the Delphox is huge. Yes, they might go down here, but that's an exchange that they're willing to take. Trevenant Unite comes out, and they're going to see if they can cash on that. Blue Shifu throwing everything. Hydro Typhoon comes out. They're trying to find a Gardevoir, throws tons of damage into the middle here, and Team YouTube still stands. They're fighting strong. 2 players down from MIDxMID. They're forced to retreat, and YouTube wants them on their goal pad as the rest of the team peels back, and they're going to be ripping this Regice, and they get it. And now Team YouTube, if they don't overstay their welcome here, that is a tit-for-tat huge exchange for them that they are willing to cash in any day of the week.
Yeah, YouTube with a very well-measured approach. I think this team is most well-known for Fui's offlaning play, and otherwise a very calm, collected squad, but all of a sudden Fui is with the team every single rotation, and they're not missing a team fight. Ridiculous gameplay from them so far. Rex and Fui looking like they're running hand-in-hand across the map, and I mean, the value has been there presently. Only 137 in points. They've been good defenses by MIDxMID, but the level experience is getting so far out of hand.
Yoshi trying to get to the Gardevoir, but no such luck as they have. Well, of course I say that, and right, they flow back forward, and Phil's looking for the cutoff. They do. Gardevoir makes it out just in time to that tier 2 goal zone just to get a bit more HP and shields. But there's the Delphox Unite. They want this goal pound to go down now, and they get it, which is huge. Let's see if they can convert on Phil. Delphox is pushing far forward. They don't want to give it up, but there's an Amnesia. I'm going to forget that beatdown. I'm going to make it back to my side, and we're good to go, Chief.
Yeah, breaking that goal zone is actually huge for this late game. If there is one final basement Reggie to spawn in, they have a gigantic advantage towards it. Problem is, you're gonna have to spend some time dealing with this Regieleki because it's headed all the way to home base. Some tactical counter scoring from Team YouTube has opened up yet another win condition for them, and Regieleki is finding its way all the way there, dedicating 2 players from MIDxMID. Now the defense is definitely left a little bit lacking here.
He's Akilo's a monster. Level 14 already with 230 left in this one, and they are pushing so far forward. It's impossible for MIDxMID to engage as they have 2 players trying to take care of that Regieleki that is going all the way downtown. Hashtag Macklemore. The rest of the YouTube squad are going to look to level up, eat some more wild Pokemon, and get ready for this final fight.
Final fight is primed, and Team YouTube has every advantage in the world. Positioning, experience, and Phil's already calling out the positioning of Team MIDxMID. Scald there to find a couple of targets, dissuade them from entering into that path, and now Galadite and Get Yoshi have to rotate towards top, whereas Gardevoir Psyshock is surely looming. Rayquaza already starting to be damaged by Team YouTube, and MIDxMID is just looking for an entry angle.
Big time Scald and Galadite slows us down. Akilo goes for the engage, and they're trying to find their way across. The Comfey is stitching some leaves onto the Eldegoss and Venusaur, but the engagement kicks downstairs. We were rolling down, and there's the Gardevoir Unite going to try and gobble him up, coming back the other way. Trevenant Unite is trying to get all over So Sad Sam. Phil trying to hold MIDxMID at bay as they're absolutely collapsing on the back end of the squad. Team YouTube still stands, though, 1 player down for each side, but it's going to start falling like dominoes here. As Akilo's coming through, they're getting damaged. Hydro Typhoon catches 2, and there's 2 players down. They're working back the other way. Finally, Akilo pops their Unite move, and they're looking for more KOs back. The Urshifu's already back into the act. The Blastoise goes down. Yoshi goes down next, and that's players, and the only reason the Delphox is back is because they just got resuscitated from the Pokemon Center, and it's YouTube looking strong in that exchange.
Extreme. I think it's got a little hairy. Get Yoshi got a crazy flank. So Sad Sam's Unite move didn't collect that many on the Gardevoir Unite. The response from Yoshi was pretty impressive. They turned that fight a little bit, but it was all over when a level 15 Akilo launches Verdant Anger towards the crowd. 40 seconds left in the game, an extremely close scoreline. Now, 100-point Duncan changes. Kiersey does land a Delphox Unite onto Fui, who takes so much damage and is stunned out of this game. There's only 30 seconds left, though. MIDxMID needs to move.
They need to get to the score pad somewhere. There's a Horn Leash pushing forward with those big hammers coming down. 2 caught up, and they're going to see if they can engage 1 player down for YouTube. This is the moment that MIDxMID needs. They're going to see what they can do. Delphox goes down, Trevenant's down, and YouTube is all over this central, and they're trying to take care of their Rayquaza. But of course it's MIDxMID. Are you kidding me? They've got to get these in. This is it. And they have to have somebody going to the next goal zone, or else it's not going to happen. They get stunned out, and Akilo might get this in just in time. Is this Hundober going to seal it up? No, it's not.
It does. The 100 goes in. Akilo with 0 points in pocket at the end. Means the 100 was counted. Let's see the final scoreline, but I think just a little bit too shallow on the point numbers. There it is, 398 to 203. Team YouTube start this one out in the lead.
Listen, their comfort picks really paid dividends for them as they were going through. Holy smokes, kids. Are you kidding me? Team YouTube with very patient fighting, something that normally we like to see them. They just go, 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 engage, engage, engage. But we saw them multiple times take an objective, get a couple KOs, peel back. Don't give anything up. Don't hemorrhage any experience back the other way. They stuck true to that from top to bottom, even in that final two fights under 2 minutes. And look at this, get themselves a pretty convincing win.
Fantastic work. Aquilo with, I believe, 12 knockouts and 96,000 damage. Definitely the MVP from game number 1. Team YouTube start things off with an extremely powerful lead. We'll see how they want to go, or how they want to go moving forward. I think more of the same. We'll have to see if MIDxMID can adapt their strategy at all to try to shut down this power pick of Venusaur from Aquilo. Now, I say they are iconic on that Venusaur. They can play other Pokemon as well. I've seen some very good options out of Aquilo, namely their Blastoise is also really, really strong. But we'll have to see going into game number 2. Dupesnakes, if you were the coach of MIDxMID, what are you changing up when it comes to play in game number 2?
Well, before I talk into play, this is what I'd change up first. Zoinks, fix your hack. The tag is hanging out. You look ridiculous.
That is
second.
Correct.
What I would do. I'm just, it's like, you know, if you have a booger and nobody tells you about it, you'd rather somebody just tell you. You know what I mean?
True. Yeah,
I don't,
maybe a little nicer, but yeah, I mean, I guess I would want them to tell me. That is true. Continue.
let me fix my lighting here so I'm not just like a glow stick in here. All right. So first switch up that it's so tough for MIDxMID because they literally got every Pokemon we ran down the list as like, this is a great Pokemon to have. And then I saw in the chat, Palmer pointed out like Team YouTube with literally the season 1 comp coming through, but it worked. So how do you cut that off when none of those Pokemon are anyone that you would normally think of to ban? Right. So when that happens, the approach I like to stick with is ban something you absolutely do not want to deal with, and then go with your best strategy that you can cobble together. That's the approach I would lay down.
Yeah, I think MIDxMID has some great approaches. Kiersey on this Delphox definitely could have had a more solid performance, but let's jump into the game. We're already into draft.
Love it.
We'll probably have to adjust these team names, but yeah, let's see. Out of bans, though, I believe we saw a Dodrio ban and maybe a Blissey ban on the other side. I don't remember exactly, but
I think it was a Mew.
Mew ban. That makes a lot of sense. That also explains why Sam was on the Gardevoir last time.
So we're taking, we haven't locked any bans in. Of course, as soon as that, it was Espeon. Was it Espeon? It was Espeon banned last time. That wasn't Mew. It was something pink. Dodrio, Espeon coming back out. So MIDxMID has an opportunity to run it back if YouTube goes back to season 1, just to give us a little bit of nostalgia. And of course, locking in what Phil's making the call here. Give me that slow, bro. I can sort anybody out with that thing. And looks like they're going to lock that in with their first pick.
I think it's truly the safest pick that we have in all of the game in terms of draft. Slowbro is strong enough that it holds up on his own and can enable many strategies for your team, but it's also one of the best counter Pokemon that we have in the entire game. It's a great meta check. Can you play around Slowbro? Do you have an answer to when Slowbro unites your strongest carry Pokemon? Can we heal them? Can we save them? Or can we just abandon them? Slowbro is a great problem to throw at your opponents out of the first pick.
Well, MIDxMID sticking true to their game 1 here, going to grab Comfey and Trevenant, and Fui locking in Venusaur and Delphox to Team YouTube. So that's going to be a little bit of a shakeup here, forcing MIDxMID to go in a different direction, and they want Machamp. They want the 4 arms chucking Nux for their side of the board here, and Mew might be an option. Good lock-in. I like the pick.
Yeah, Machamp and Mew are going to upgrade both of their lanes substantially. I think the top path was really suffering. A scaling Pokemon of Blastoise with Kuro's Comfey is good at the defense. They were having a really tough time getting any stacks in and also just preventing Fui from going off. I mean, Sam was just getting so much damage on that Gardevoir in the top path early. I think this is a really strong adaptation. Wild to see Urshifu going as the 5th pick, by the way. But hey, we're going to see Fui on that Pokemon. I believe they prefer the Wicked Blow, so we're probably going to see a strong Smite style of a Pokemon on that side. Get Yoshi on the Gardevoir. I think Gardevoir is a very, very strong answer to Venusaur. The problem is, how can it compete with Fui's Urshifu is definitely going to be the question I'm going to be asking.
Yeah, it's really up to Galadite and Kiro. I almost want to see Kiro hop onto Galadite and use them to kind of
Yeah.
screen out both for the Mew and the Gardevoir, and let CSE, because they're on the Machamp, kind of run wild. So, there's a tit for tat to happen here. Of course, so sad saying with Delphox Unite cutting off any sort of healing is going to be something they have to keep an eye out for. But MIDxMID does have some tools in their tool belt to be able to deal with this composition.
Absolutely. Also, shout out to Galadite running the Assault Vest on the Trevenant. Absolute defense monster. I think Assault Vest will probably fall off in the late game, but relevant in the early game against Slowbro. Those early Scalds can be a tough thing for Trevenant to deal with. Assault Vest shielding, preventing a little bit of that damage, because Slowbro being a special attacker, of course, that could be relevant. But I really do think Kierzy on this Mew is going to be a huge upgrade to that bottom path. I'm excited to see how it plays in the early game. If MIDxMID can find an advantage there and earn themselves some Reggies in the face of a single strike Urshifu, that would be a fantastic turn of events for them. And honestly, the win condition I am most looking forward to seeing if MIDxMID can pull off.
They really have to keep a Kilo on a leash early in this one and not let them get so big so quickly. And Kierzy on that Mew is a great way to do that. CSE going and scrambling right for it. They're going to try and get their stacks up early, I imagine, here.
Yeah. Yet another split of the central area. Yeah, you're right. CSE needs to get to that goal zone. But hey, Rex with the Eldegoss passive of slowing it with autos and the red buff is a pretty terrifying combination. And yeah, that's a tough one to deal with. CSE playing it a little bit safer, just resigning themselves to their own goal zone, and instead just get some early damage into Rex.
Yeah, trying to get these wild Pokemon and forcing themselves to, like, hey, let me get a heavy experience lead. Good little slow smokes. CSC trying to get out. Too many long names to say here, Zoinks. But now YouTube pulling up, and that's the Braxton. Braxton?
I've always said Braxton. But it could be either or. Who's to tell? But also, there's no one checking. So it's just whatever we would like. Get Yoshi early Psyshock, getting a lot of damage. Phil, of course, Amnesia, just going to be healing up a lot of that damage. Galadite playing very far forward, and it combos so well. They get an early knockout. Now they're in position to get a couple of scores unless Kilo can get this monster defense. Get Yoshi does take a face full of Razor Leaf, but they find a way to get 18 in. Fantastic start from MIDxMID.
That's exactly what Yoshi is doing different this time around. They're rotating to the bottom path to really cut off a Kilo from these crazy levels. Look, if MIDxMID needs to do anything here, it's just try and maintain and sustain this top path, not let it get too crazy. And one heck of a way to do that is not getting KO'd by this Urshifu that's already level 6. You mentioned Single Strike, and that's exactly the direction Fui went.
Yeah, Wicked Blow is going to be a fantastic secure tool. Venusaur having no solid secure tools in the early game, and even in the late game, Unite Move probably being the only reason they would ever have a fighting chance at that. Galadite actually does pick up the Altaria, so a lot of experience going over to them. Any way you can slow down Sosat Sam and can't stop him, actually gets a knockout on the Urshifu. If they can get in position, they might have level 7 by minute 7, which is fantastic for Machamp. Don't they dump 26.
They just pull up for the smoke, and they're trying to get some points in here, but it's 2 players holding back in the face of 4. MIDxMID decides not to overstay their welcome here. Galadite content on peeling back. Comfy looking for a target, and they hula hoop onto the tree as they peel downstairs.
Watch how Kiro plays the support Pokemon as well. Really intelligent. Actually tries to bait out a Mystical Fire from Sosat Sam, and then dodges it by attaching to their teammates. So, hey, look at me, fire your cannons at me, and then immediately plays off and does some supporting material. Solid work from Kiro. They have played a myriad of roles in the competitive Unite ecosystem, but I think support is befitting them for how intelligent their playstyle is.
Yeah, that's not something that you would think it's in the kit, but it's totally like the minutia that you need to know. Here we go. YouTube's all over this thing. They're kind of shredding it down. MIDxMID a little bit late. They can't get it done. Of course, that big single strike Wicked Blow going to sort it out. And now MIDxMID just forced to retreat. Phil not wanting any of that action. They're peeling back, and I think this is just a responsible choice by both teams here. I wouldn't get too hungry on Phil as they're going with the Surf this time around. A little Amnesia, one of the kits that I like the most out of Slowbro, as all of YouTube is scampering upstairs, forcing MIDxMID to adjust a little bit.
Yeah, MIDxMID did not get that first Reggie. I really wanted them to have that early game advantage. They're not going to have that, but good news is Aquilo only just now hit 9, whereas last game they were at that 730 mark, which was a little bit ridiculous. So they are holding back Aquilo a little bit, but hitting 9 is making them a monster, but Galadite actually finding a way to fight back.
Yeah, the Delphox Unite comes through and picks up a quick KO, but the fact that Galadite is still standing is a testament to how strong they've gotten in this game compared to the last one. They're on pace here, and they're putting the pressure on Phil. They're not letting him go. As Phil kind of catches the corner with the surf, this might spell a KO here, and they get it. Could get Yoshi converts, and that's a big one for them, as that's more experience going their way. MIDxMID heating up a little bit, looking like a new team.
Deuce X, you called it out. The amount of healing that Trevenant has now with Pain Split and Comfey, and even just the natural passive of Trevenant is a little ridiculous, able to out-heal pretty much everything that was thrown at Trevenant right there. It seems like their HP bar reset 4 times in that little skirmish we just had. We're headed into the 5-minute mark, an extremely close game, 127 to 102. A couple of level 10s on the side of Team YouTube, only one on the side of Team MIDxMID. This next Reggie, though, could shift the play pattern of either team, and honestly could be a deciding factor in the final results of this game number 2.
If they have a well-calculated Unite out of Yosh and the rest of MIDxMID can engage, maybe a Machamp Unite as well, they both have them queued up, locked in, ready to go. As my screen paused a little bit there, so I was afraid I was going to miss some action, but that is a great way to start here and a good time to use these Unites.
Yeah, watch Fui had a back angle there. Can't stop him playing around a bit on the defense. Seems that Reggie has already started getting some damage. Regirock is broken. Team YouTube making some rocks there for a bit of a defense. Galadite with the engage as this fight pops off in earnest.
Yeah, that big Unite comes through, but doesn't really find its mark as CSE's trying to find the next person to engage on. Aquila pushing forward, but Galadite already used their big-time Unite, and they're going to try and convert on that. Phil with the backdoor surf, catching Galadite a little bit, but look at that sustain. They're able to pick themselves back up, and they're back in the face of that Blue Shifu, and they get KO'd in tandem with the Gardevoir. Are you kidding me? That's a huge KO for MIDxMID, and that's great experience for them. They're pushing forward, and they're fighting pretty darn well, Zoinks, despite being a little under level. Galadite, you have to credit them for being absolute monsters. They go down to a kilo there. MIDxMID putting together a pretty good push, but here comes that Urshifu. They're already off respawn, and MIDxMID is getting bubbled out by a big-time Verdannger. They're going to try and find the Mew backdoor and with Solar Beam, and the Kilo goes down to the Slowbro. Excuse me, a Kilo. The Venusaur's back on the other side. What am I saying here, Zoinks? I'm losing it from top to bottom. Are you kidding me? I am lost.
Yeah, it's all right. There were so many moving pieces in that team fight. I think the teams were even a little bit confused. Kierzy was playing so far south near the beach there on that Mew, trying to get some last hits in on that Solar Beam, a tough thing to do to contest a single strike Urshifu. But the answer really seemed to be winning that team fight is how can we knock out a Kilo? They found that answer a little bit too late. They threw everything and the kitchen sink at that Pokemon. Finally gets it knocked out, but all that means is that Team YouTube had 4 members to knock out that Regirock. We're now sitting at 2 Reggies to none for Team YouTube, and the experience is starting to show. A few level 12s on their side, namely a Kilo starting to hit those Venusaur terror levels, but CSE twists things around, finds a knockout on Rex, but Fui is back quickly in time to defend that goal zone.
Yeah, I mean, CSE's Dennis would be proud. They're flossing on that Machamp right now. They're looking good. MIDxMID cobbling together some very good team fights despite being lower on levels, and that's all off the back of Galadite right now. Their sustain in tandem with the Comfey is just doing so much work as they're able to take a ton of those birds in the face of 3 players from Team YouTube, and now Kersey's pulling up for the smoke. Solar Beam coming through. They want Phil. They're all over Phil. Gardevoir chucking their abilities at them as well as MIDxMID peels back to their goal zone to take a deep breath.
Yeah, Regieleki going to be eliminated rather quickly. Kilo and Fui taking that Pokemon down, and with the time frame we are looking at, I do not see this Pokemon being knocked out in any kind of quick fashion. Machamp, Gardevoir, and Mew all rotating up to knock this Pokemon out, but with 10 seconds left until final stretch, and with a single strike Urshifu, Team YouTube does not really have a reason to leave this Ray alone. I assume they are going to pay a lot of attention to it immediately. MIDxMID is going to need to find an angle to try to knock out a Kilo quickly, an almost impossible task.
CSE gets sussed out by Fui just a hair there. But yes, that Regieleki hit, but nobody from YouTube went for it, as MIDxMID is just posturing pretty well, so it's just getting ready.
Yeah, a Mystical Fire does land on a Get Yoshi, getting a lot of damage, takes some cooldowns away from Kiro that has to heal the Gardevoir rather, but already the Surf lock up.
The Surf comes through, and that's a Trevenant Unite right in the middle. That's huge. Delphox right on top of it. They're pushing forward. One player down for YouTube. MIDxMID is pushing. They're trying to find another one. It's a Delphox converting, though. Two down back the other way. Urshifu getting another one. Fui with a big wicked blow, taking a wicked KO and going wicked high. The tree is pushing forward. They're chucking the hammers. They're trying to pop melons out here, but they're not finding their mark. The sustain's ridiculous. Comfy hops back on, and they're putting the pressure on MIDxMID. Galadite is trying to make it out, but trees are allergic to fire. Forest fire. Call Smokey the Bear. We're down. Delphox pushing. They get the Comfy as well, and now YouTube is pivoting onto this Rayquaza, and they've got a really good opportunity at this one, Zoinks, as CSC is going to come in and try to make a top door little miracle play, get Yoshi on the chase as well, but they've got a real opportunity to steal this one here because nobody from YouTube is closing the gap on them. They're trying to. That's a big time Unite onto the Machamp. CSC is locked up. Get Yoshi's trying to get it done, but they're going to get KO'd. Huge Surf back the other way, and tandem with a Kilo, they get the KO, and now it's YouTube all over it. Cur's going to try and miracle this thing through, but that Solar Beam is way late. Delphox gets it. Akilo gets 2 KOs, and now it's stuck at time. YouTube gonna try and feast on some burgers.
Looks like Hundo Burgers are on their menu, at least. A bit of a counter push from MIDxMID, but Sam actually very intelligently playing the defense. They match up so well against this Trevenant. They're gonna knock them out again. Sam finally finding a way to knock out Galadite. Credit to Galadite for playing very aggressive and getting into the Delphox's face. One of the only ways you can truly compete with that Pokemon in the final moments, but it looks like Team YouTube played that team fight so picture perfectly that they have locked this one up 2-0. I believe we're looking at our first winners. Team YouTube taking down MIDxMID 2-0.
Yeah, Team YouTube looked very cohesive. They had a couple rocky moments there, but on the other side, their rockiest moments was MIDxMID was really finding opportunities to shine, and that was off the back of Galadite and Blue Kiro, who were just playing in the face of YouTube and letting MIDxMID have a real chance, giving the Gardevoir and the Mew a real opportunity to fire in some damage, get some good KOs from safety, from range, and Galadite just never went down. And look at that. Because of it, they're taking home 3 KOs and an assist here. Galadite, great work. Tip of the cap to them. But at the end of the day, YouTube just a bit too much tonight.
Yeah, at least in that game number 2, MIDxMID did have some nice adaptations. I love their change-up in the top path with CSC on the Machamp. Not the greatest damage numbers there, obviously, but I think the adaptation in lane was really, really solid, and they helped keep Akilo down in the bottom lane. Curzi on that Mew was a way better answer to the Venusaur in the early game. That definitely was paying off, but in the end, it's Team YouTube playing that comp picture perfect. It's becoming Rex's iconic Eldegoss if it's not already there. Team YouTube is going to be moving on to play the winner of Unknown versus Team Drip. We will be having that matchup very, very soon. But Doobsnakes, is there anything you want to say before we jump to a quick break?
I don't know how the tag on your hat keeps sneaking out.
It's almost intentional now, and you're welcome, chat, because I am so embarrassed by Doobsnake saying it yet again. You know what's worse is the hair underneath, so I'm gonna leave the hat on until we jump to a quick break. But in the meantime, do not forget exclamation mark sponsor, exclamation mark KFKF, if you want to check out Kinda Fit, Kinda Fat, an amazing body positive workout apparel brand with some fantastic t-shirts. I got one that has a Snorlax lifting weights made completely out of rice on it. I love it. Use our promo code UNITEMICS at checkout for 10% off. It's the place to be, along with this Twitch stream, of course, right now, as we head into game number 2 very soon. Do not go anywhere.